But let's face it, there are a lot of social medias out there. There are tons of them. They're growing every day. What do you see as the primary difference among Twitter and other social sites like MySpace and Facebook?
Well, Doug, one thing is that it's non-proprietary, meaning that you can customize Twitter to your liking. CEO and co-founder of Twitter, Evan Williams, reports that there are over 2,000 of these third-party tools that integrate with Twitter. Unlike other social sites, Twitter allows flexibility with tools and plugins. It's this that makes Twitter different from other social sites, Doug. The possibilities are endless, and Twitter is considered to be in its infancy.
Now, this is the second time you mentioned third-party tools. In fact, I wrote it down over here. What are some of these third-party tools you keep talking about, and what can they really do for me?
Well, Al just mentioned one, Twello, for locating people within your niche. These other third-party tools, you can upload do photo sharing on Twitter, upload videos, upload audios, check your Twitter stats, schedule tweets into the future for events. You can track conversations, people, topics, events, athletes, and the list goes on. Also, there are other third-party apps that you can also use with your mobile phone. And we all know how cell phones and mobile phones are becoming so popular.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. My new iPhone has almost replaced my travel laptop in many routine situations. But what changes have you guys seen in Twitter since you started and just a few months ago?
Well, it's really amazing how much has changed in just the last 9 months since we've started on Twitter. When we started, there was just a couple of ebooks or guides, if you will, and a few videos to educate yourself about Twitter. Today, everyone seems to be a Twitter expert, selling different programs and ebooks to generate more followers. And let's face it, most people want to make more money. In the beginning, we also thought that the more followers we had, the better off you were. But we quickly discovered, Doug, that the quality of followers was much more important than the quantity. We teach people today how to generate targeted followers by engaging, building relationships, and providing value. It's these core values that seem to have been lost somewhere, and it's amazing how many people are unaware of, forgot, or simply take these for granted.
Wow, that leads me right into our next question, but it really answers it as well. I was going to say, I've seen a whole bunch of people with thousands of followers and others with only a handful of followers. And what amazes me is that sometimes the people with thousands of followers are really not sharing much useful information, and some of the guys with only a handful of followers are really sharing good, quality, useful stuff. I guess you've really already answered my question for me, and that is, I guess it's like many other marketing situations. The more focused the target market is, the better and more successful the marketing is going to be. And that's exactly what you're saying, I'm guessing, that on Twitter you have to be focused on targeting people that are specifically in your niche. Is that right?
That's exactly what I'm saying. If I had 1 million people, there's no way that I could build a relationship and communicate with 1 million people. Unless all I was trying to do was blast out links to my website, and that's one thing. But if I want to build the relationships and connect with people, and that's what it's about. We all want instant gratification, and that's what so many people are trying to do on Twitter, is get a bunch of followers and just start blasting links out there, back to their website or blog, and that's not the way it works. That's why you see a lot of the stuff that you were talking about, spam and things along that line, and that's why we have the ability to block those types of people. So the quality is definitely better.
Yeah, I had something like that happen to me the other day. In about a 9-minute period of time, I received 28 tweets from the same guy, all pretty much saying the same thing. Here's my URL, buy something from me. And that's just crazy. It doesn't really do any good, and I'm certainly not going to follow him or pay attention to what he has to say. And also what you said is extremely important, that actually, and again, this brings me to my next question. You guys are really great. You answer my questions for me before I get there. It must be psychic. And my question was going to be, what are the most common mistakes you see people making on Twitter? And one of the answers has to be people blasting a bunch of crap out, like buy me now type spam, that's designed to be purely commercial and not offer any real value. Is that right?
Well, that is exactly right. And I see that once in a while. I'll see that, and it'll just fill up my whole screen, filled with tweets from the same person, because they're using some type of a third-party tool, and they line them up in there and they schedule them, and they hit the button and it just starts to blast them out. And basically, I don't typically just go right in and block people. I'll go in and unfollow the person first, and if somehow he ends back up on my following, then I may go in and just block them, and then I'll be done with it. But just unfollow people to be, give them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe they made a mistake. That does happen. So give people the benefit of the doubt and just unfollow them. Or just simply ask them or let them know what's going on. When I started, to be honest with you, Doug, I was making mistakes too, and I, got hooked up with some third-party tools that were filling up my people's screens with ad replies, and so I just simply had to go in and turn that off. And so those are just some of the learning curves. So be kind and courteous and let people know what they're doing wrong. If it obviously is spam, or anything of the pornographic nature, I just go in and block those people. We need to get rid of those people. But some of the other common mistakes that we see are bad photos. The side of somebody's head, an eyeball, or maybe a unknown logo. If you're known, like a news broadcast station or something like that, and you have a logo, people know what that logo is. But otherwise, just throwing up a logo at random, using a bad photo, like I mentioned, is a big mistake, because people can't connect with something they can't see, if you understand what I'm saying there.
Oh, yeah.
Not using keywords in their bio. I see a lot of, you can use 160 characters in your bio, and a lot of times people only use 20 or 30. They don't, what I recommend is using as many words as you can. Fill your bio up, and if you're on there for building a business or you want people to be able to find you, use as many keywords as you can. Don't worry about sentence structure, but use as many keywords as you can in your bio, so that these third-party tools, and when people search using keywords within the Twitter search, they'll find you. Another big mistake is that people try to send out their link, just trying to sell something. Now, we send out a link back to our blog, twitterwatchdog.com, but typically what we also try to do is we connect with people, we respond to people, and we also send out other types of information in between our tweets with our link. And that's what a lot of people don't do. It's just all or none. So those are the biggest mistakes that we see.